248-539.
We have major breaking news.
Oh, do we?
Monty Williams is out as Pistons head coach.
Wow. You talk about breaking news.
I was just checking Twitter to see, because I saw breaking news that Pascal Siakam has just signed a multi-million-dollar extension with the Indiana Pacers. Yes, the Woj bomb. ESPN sources, after one season, the Detroit Pistons have dismissed coach Monty Williams, who leaves with 5 years and $65 million plus left on his new deal. New president, Trajan Langdon, will move to make his own coaching hire now. Wow. See, this is the reason that we have not heard from Trajan Langdon, in my opinion, because a lot of people were upset about this. We haven't heard from him. The reason is he didn't know what was going on. He didn't have his front office. He didn't have his front office. Now he's got that. And no decision was made about Monty Williams. Now, I thought the longer this went, meant that Monty was not going to come back. But then they hired a shooting coach that actually worked under Monty when he was in New Orleans as well. I said, well, maybe they're doing this.
To his staff.
Yes. And I'll tell you what else, okay? Because this guy has been made fun of, and rightfully so, for a long time. I got to give some credit to Tom Gores.
That's a big contract to eat.
Yes.
5 years, $65 million.
Yes. I've always said that Gores, he's not a great owner because he really doesn't know basketball. He's hired the wrong people. He fell in love with Andre Drummond too early, or shouldn't have fallen in love with him at all. He wanted basically to get a star. That was Blake Griffin. Van Gundy didn't work. We all know that stuff. But I'd never accuse him of being cheap. I always am convinced he'd go over the luxury tax if he had to. And the fact that he went over what many people thought was absurd amount of money to hire Monty Williams, who really didn't want to coach, and he just kept upping the contract. And Monty Williams, remember at the press conference, John, was pretty honest.
Yeah, he said, I didn't want to coach.
I didn't. You know, that the money has a lot to do with this.
Yeah.
And now he hires a new guy to run everything, and he fires the coach. That is incredible to me. And I think that's, in a weird way, no matter how this turns out, who they hire, I'm going to push for Sam Cassell, but that's who I'd love to see him hire. But here we go. Tom Gores, he let his money speak. He's eating that money. And maybe, just maybe, another owner who shares that building could do the same thing with somebody on his baseball team.
You think this will set the example?
No, but it should.
Wow, I didn't see that one coming this morning.
No, neither did I.
That 5 years, $65 million just to say goodbye to a guy that coached the team to the worst record in franchise history. I mean, you can all understand why, in terms of basketball, this decision was made. In terms of money, I didn't think that this would be possible. I thought that they would at least keep Monty for one more year and see if it was roster, if it was leadership from above the head coach. But apparently Trajan Langdon doesn't want Monty and wants to start fresh and wants to hit the ground running with his own guy.
Yes.
I think this is like a breath of fresh air if you're a fan, because it means that he's letting Trajan do his job.
Exactly. The owner is saying, look, whatever I've been doing hasn't worked. I've hired the wrong people. I don't know. Well, he's not going to say I don't know, but we don't know whether Langdon's the right person. But at least he's letting Langdon do whatever the hell he wants, which he should. A good owner should have an open checkbook for the most part and stay the hell out of the way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about wiping the slate clean. That's exactly what they just did. And when you think about the implications financially, it means for him, that's $65 million. So in total, what was it, 72, I think was? So it basically was 1 year, $72 million for Monty Williams. That's a hell of a year.
72 million divided by 14. What's that? 8 million a win? No, it's not even.
72 divided by 14
is what?
They said there'd be no math. Why are you doing this?
I know. 50.
Well,
6.
4 would be 60-ish, 56. 5 $5 million a win?
Something like that.
That's not bad work if you can find it.
No.
So obviously and this is something that obviously Detroit sports fans have wanted for a number of years at different times for every franchise. Just start fresh and don't, we talk about this with Scott Harris. This is a rebuild that Tigers fans are going on a decade of.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 years for Scott Harris. This for Trajan Langdon, you could have accepted the fact that it's a month. Yeah, and you could have accepted the fact that, okay, well, maybe the money was too much after just 1 year to let Monty Williams go. So then he would have been saddled with, and the rebuild for Trajan Langdon stunted because he had a coach that he didn't really want.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, hey, you got a fresh slate. Everything is wiped clean. Now it's up to him to do what he needs to do with the roster, but he's obviously going to be in search for a coach. And you mentioned Sam Cassell.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have a list of possible coaches because I didn't think this was possible.
I know. Sam Cassell's, look, he was an assistant for a while, assistant with the Celtics. He'd be great. I'm sure there's others, just have to take time to look at things. Oh, hey, you know what? Hey, Dan Hurley turned down the Lakers. He'll come to Detroit. I'm just kidding.
Think they could offer him more than the Lakers and he'd actually do it? Probably not. No. Here's some instant reaction. Morning, guys. Thanks for the great news. The fans are on their feet and applauding. That's in all caps. So he's shouting it at us. Dave at work. Guys, didn't we just hire an assistant coach that's a shooting specialist or something that makes this all confusing? Yes, that is a little confusing. Was that hire made by Monty Williams? Was it made by Trajan Langdon? Obviously, he had to approve it. But did he do that knowing that he was going to make this move? Or
I don't know.
That there is some confusion there. Does he stay on or does he go with Monty? Not Williams' fault. The Pistons roster is a joke. No one else will do any better.
Well, okay. That part of that is true. The other part is, who's the coach who decided that he'd play Killian Hayes a hell of a lot more than Jaden Ivey when the team was put together? Who decided that during the middle of the games he'd all of a sudden take out everybody? It's like it seemed obvious to me and a lot of other people who know basketball a lot better than I do, that either Cade Cunningham or Jaden Ivey should be on the floor, at least one of them at all times.
Yeah. So the whole Killian Hayes thing playing, that one always, it raised a red flag to me in one of two ways. One, it was a mandate by Troy Weaver that you're going to play this guy.
Yep.
And if it wasn't a mandate, and so that was the red flag, that he's tinkering where he shouldn't be tinkering. The other red flag would have been, if that wasn't the mandate, then the red flag is on Monty Williams. Why are you playing him ahead of Jaden Ivey? And whether there was a personality conflict or not, or whatever it was, we couldn't figure out. There was a great mystery as to why Jaden Ivey wasn't playing more, especially at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Would you know that, Stoney? Would you know? Was Ivey in Williams' doghouse for some reason?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.